A courtroom clash erupts as Justice Amy Coney Barrett grills Elon Musk over his platform's alleged violations. Musk fires back, exposing the FCC's unconstitutional overreach. The hearing spirals into a battle over free speech that could reshape digital rights. The Supreme Court chamber buzzed with tension on a crisp April morning in 2025, the air thick with anticipation. Reporters crammed the gallery, their cameras trained on the center of the room where Elon Musk, the enigmatic billionaire and CEO of X Corp, stood at the podium. His tailored suit and steely gaze contrasted with the ornate wooden paneling behind him, a stage set for a legal showdown that had gripped the nation. Across from him, the 9 justices sat in their black robes, their expressions unreadable. At the heart of the bench was Justice Amy Coney Barrett, her sharp intellect and reputation for constitutional fidelity making her the focal point of this high-stakes hearing. The case had exploded into public consciousness months earlier when the Federal Communications Commission accused X, Musk's social media platform, of violating federal regulations. The FCC claimed X's algorithms amplified harmful content without proper oversight, demanding hefty fines and sweeping changes to its operations. Musk, never one to shy from a fight, refused to comply, calling the directives an assault on free speech. The dispute escalated until it landed before the nation's highest court, with the government seeking to enforce its authority and Musk challenging the very foundation of the FCC's claims. Barrett leaned forward, her voice cutting through the silence. "Mr. Musk, your platform's refusal to adhere to federal guidelines has led to accusations of reckless endangerment of public discourse. How do you justify this defiance?" Her tone was measured but carried an edge, a challenge to the man who had disrupted industries from automotive to aerospace. The room held its breath, expecting Musk to falter under the weight of her scrutiny. Musk didn't flinch. "Justice Barrett, with respect, the FCC's guidelines are not just misguided, they're unconstitutional. They seek to control speech, under the guise of public safety, a precedent that endangers the First Amendment." His voice was calm but firm, each word deliberate. Murmurs rippled through the gallery. Legal analysts scribbled furiously, caught off guard by his audacity. Barrett's eyes narrowed slightly, betraying a flicker of surprise. He continued, undeterred. "The FCC's definition of harmful content is so vague, it could mean anything from political dissent to scientific debate. My platform exists to amplify truth, not suppress it. If the government can dictate what's harmful, it can silence anyone." Musk's argument struck a chord, echoing his public persona as a defender of open discourse. His acquisition of Twitter, in 2022, rebranded as X, had been driven by his belief that social media was a battleground for free expression, a conviction now on trial. Barrett pressed further. "You claim to champion truth, yet your platform has been criticized for spreading misinformation. Does X bear no responsibility for the consequences of its content?" Her question was a trap, designed to force Musk into a corner. The other justices watched closely, their pens poised. Musk met her gaze. "Responsibility lies with individuals to discern truth, not with platforms to play judge and jury. The FCC's rules would have X act as a censor, a role incompatible with a free society. History shows that centralized control of speech leads to tyranny, not safety." His words carried a weight that silenced the room. He wasn't just defending X, he was indicting the government's approach. As Musk spoke, he reached for a stack of documents, pulling out a legal brief with a flourish. "If I may, Your Honor, I'd like to reference a precedent that supports my position, a decision you authored." The gallery gasped. Barrett's eyebrow arched, a mix of curiosity and caution. Musk was turning the tables, using her own words against the government's case. The move was bold, risky, and utterly unprecedented. What precedent had Musk uncovered, and how would it shift the battle unfolding in the courtroom? Musk's words hung in the air, a daring challenge that electrified the Supreme Court chamber. Justice Amy Coney Barrett, her composure unshaken but her curiosity piqued, tilted her head slightly. "Proceed, Mr. Musk. Which precedent do you believe applies?" Her voice was steady, but the room sensed a shift. A predator sizing up an unexpected adversary. Reporters leaned forward, pens scratching furiously as the gallery held its collective breath. Elon Musk, the tech titan with no formal legal training, was about to wield a justice's own ruling as a weapon against the government. Musk adjusted his stance, his confidence unshaken. "Your Honor, I refer to your 2021 opinion in Americans for Prosperity Foundation versus Bonta. In that case, you wrote that government demands for broad disclosure requirements, absent a compelling and narrowly tailored justification, violate the First Amendment by chilling free association and speech." He paused, letting the words sink in. "The FCC's regulations on X demand sweeping control over content moderation, with vague standards that invite abuse. Your ruling makes clear, such overreach is unconstitutional." The gallery erupted in whispers. Barrett's expression remained inscrutable, but her fingers tapped lightly on her notes, a rare tell. Musk had not only cited her work, but weaponized it, framing the FCC's actions as a direct affront to her own legal philosophy. The other justices exchanged glances, some intrigued, others skeptical. Justice Brett Kavanaugh leaned forward, his eyes narrowing. "Mr. Musk, are you suggesting the FCC lacks any authority to regulate platforms like yours?" His tone carried a warning, a reminder of the government's long-standing role in communications oversight. Musk didn't hesitate. "Not at all, Justice Kavanaugh. I'm saying their current approach, arbitrary, overbroad, and punitive, crosses a constitutional line. The FCC claims it's protecting the public, but its rules empower bureaucrats to decide truth. That's not regulation, it's censorship." His voice rose slightly, a controlled passion that resonated. The word censorship landed like a grenade, amplifying the stakes. Legal analysts in the gallery scribbled furiously, sensing a narrative shift. Musk wasn't just defending X, he was reframing the case as a battle for the soul of free expression. Barrett interjected, her tone sharper now. "Your platform's algorithms amplify certain voices over others. That's a form of editorial control, is it not? Why should X be exempt from accountability when it shapes public discourse?" The question was a gauntlet, testing Musk's logic. The room tensed, expecting him to stumble under her precision. Musk met her gaze, unflinching. "Every platform makes choices, Justice Barrett, but X's algorithms prioritize engagement, not ideology. The FCC wants to dictate those choices, to enforce a uniformity that stifles debate. Your Bonta ruling protects against such government overreach, ensuring private entities can operate without coercive interference." His response was a masterstroke, weaving her precedent into a defense of X's autonomy. The gallery buzzed, reporters texting updates. Musk turns Barrett's own words against FCC. Justice Sonia Sotomayor, known for her skepticism of corporate power, leaned in. "Mr. Musk, your platform's reach is unprecedented. Misinformation spreads like wildfire, with real-world harm. You dismiss the FCC's concerns, but what's your solution?" Her question dripped with challenge, a reminder of the human cost at stake. Musk's eyes flickered with intensity. "The solution is more speech, not less access. X empowers users to challenge falsehoods in real time. The FCC's rules would suppress that dynamic, creating a sanitized internet where only approved narratives survive." His voice carried conviction, a glimpse of the man who had built empires by defying convention. The justices listened, some nodding subtly, others unconvinced. As the hearing progressed, Musk unveiled more evidence. Internal FCC memos, obtained through discovery, suggesting political motivations behind the regulations. The documents hinted at pressure from influential lawmakers to target X for its unfiltered discourse. The revelation stunned the courtroom, shifting the narrative further. Barrett's gaze sharpened, her pen pausing. Had Musk just exposed a government conspiracy to silence dissent? How would the justices react to this bombshell? And what new challenges would Musk face as the FCC scrambled to respond? The Supreme Court chamber pulsed with shock as Elon Musk's revelation landed. Internal FCC memos, now projected on a screen for all to see, suggested a coordinated effort to target X for its refusal to align with certain political narratives. The documents, dry in their bureaucratic prose, were damning in implication. Lawmakers had pressured the agency to rein in Musk's platform, citing its role in amplifying dissenting voices. Reporters in the gallery typed furiously, their screens glowing with breaking news alerts. Justice Amy Coney Barrett, her face a mask of restraint, set down her pen, her eyes locked on the evidence. The other justices stirred, their murmurs barely audible but electric with intrigue. Had Musk just turned the case into a referendum on government corruption? Chief Justice John Roberts, his voice calm but commanding, broke the silence. Mr. Musk, these are serious allegations. You're implying the FCC acted in bad faith. Can you substantiate this beyond these documents? His question was a lifeline for the FCC's counsel, who sat visibly rattled, shuffling papers in a desperate bid to regroup. The room leaned in, sensing the stakes had escalated beyond a mere regulatory dispute. Musk, unflappable, nodded. Chief Justice, these memos are just the start. X's legal team has compiled communications, obtained legally, showing FCC officials, discussing how to neutralize platforms that don't comply with their vision of acceptable speech. This isn't regulation, it's a vendetta. His words were measured but carried a sting, painting the FCC as a rogue actor. The gallery buzzed, reporters whispering about the potential fallout. Could this evidence sway the court, or was Musk overplaying his hand? Justice Samuel Alito, a staunch defender of free speech, leaned forward, his eyes glinting. If true, Mr. Musk, this suggests an abuse of power. But your platform isn't blameless. You've admitted X amplifies polarizing content. Why should we trust your motives over the government's? The question was a dagger, probing Musk's credibility. The tension in the room thickened, every eye on the billionaire. Musk's jaw tightened, but his voice remained steady. Justice Alito, my motive is simple. Preserve the open exchange of ideas. X doesn't pick winners. It lets users decide what resonates. The FCC's motive, as these memos show, is control. They fear a platform they can't steer. His response was a direct hit, framing X as a bastion of freedom against a meddling state. Alito's expression softened slightly, a hint of approval, but Barrett's gaze remained piercing, unconvinced. The FCC's lead counsel, Margaret Hensley, rose, her face flushed with urgency. Your Honors, this is a distraction. X's refusal to moderate harmful content, disinformation, incitement, threatens public safety. Mr. Musk's documents are out of context, and his platform's chaos speaks for itself. Her voice trembled, slightly betraying the pressure. She pointed at Musk. He's no constitutional scholar. He's a showman dodging accountability. The attack was personal, a bid to discredit Musk's unexpected legal acumen. Musk didn't flinch. Ms. Hensley, if I'm a showman, then explain why the FCC's own emails call X a problem for its refusal to censor specific viewpoints. That's not safety. It's politics. The room gasped. Musk's retort was a masterclass in confrontation, turning Hensley's jab into a boomerang. Barrett's eyebrow arched, a flicker of intrigue crossing her face. The other justices scribbled notes, the weight of Musk's evidence sinking in. Justice Elena Kagan, known for her incisive questioning, interjected. "Mr. Musk, you rely heavily on First Amendment protections, but the Internet isn't a town square. It's a curated space. Why should X's curation be immune from oversight?" Her question was a curveball, challenging the core of Musk's argument. The gallery held its breath, sensing a pivotal moment. Musk paused, then leaned into the podium. "Justice Kagan, the Internet is the modern town square, and X's curation reflects user choice, not editorial fiat. The FCC wants to replace that choice with its own, a move your own writings on free speech caution against." His reference to Kagan's scholarship was a bold gambit, showing his preparation ran deeper than anyone expected. Kagan's eyes widened, slightly, a rare crack in her composure. As the hearing intensified, Hensley scrambled to counter Musk's momentum, hinting at new evidence to justify the FCC's actions. What could the agency unveil to reclaim the narrative? And how would Musk respond to this looming threat? The Supreme Court chamber crackled with anticipation as Margaret Hensley, the FCC's lead counsel, stood, her hands trembling but her voice resolute. Elon Musk's relentless assault, exposing internal memos and wielding Justice Barrett's own precedent, had thrown the government's case into disarray. Now Hensley's cryptic hint at new evidence hung over the courtroom like a storm cloud. Reporters in the gallery whispered feverishly, their screens flashing with speculation. Justice Amy Coney Barrett leaned forward, her gaze sharp, while the other justices shifted in their seats, sensing a counterstrike. Musk stood at the podium, his expression unreadable but his eyes locked on Hensley, ready for battle. "Your Honors," Hensley began, her voice steadier now, "Mr. Musk paints a conspiratorial picture, but the FCC's actions are grounded in necessity. We have evidence, previously undisclosed due to national security concerns, that X's unchecked algorithms have amplified foreign disinformation campaigns, endangering democratic processes." The gallery gasped, the accusation landing like a thunderclap. Hensley produced a sealed folder, handing it to the clerk. "These classified reports detail how X's platform boosted coordinated propaganda during recent elections, undermining public trust." The room erupted in murmurs. "Chief." Justice John Roberts raised a hand, silencing the crowd. "Ms. Hensley, this is a grave claim. You're suggesting X's operations pose a direct threat to national security." His tone was skeptical but probing, a warning to tread carefully. Hensley nodded. "Precisely, Your Honor. The FCC's regulations are not about censorship, but about safeguarding our democracy from external manipulation." Her words were a calculated pivot, reframing the FCC as protectors, not oppressors. Musk's jaw tightened, his mind racing. The accusation was a masterstroke, tapping into fears of foreign interference that had haunted public discourse since 2016. Justice Brett Kavanaugh, his brow furrowed, addressed Musk. "Mr. Musk, if these reports are accurate, how do you defend X's role in amplifying such content? National security is a compelling state interest." The question was a trap, forcing Musk to navigate a minefield of patriotism and accountability. Musk took a measured breath, his voice calm but forceful. "Justice Kavanaugh, the FCC's reports are a convenient scare tactic. X's algorithms don't target content by origin, they prioritize engagement. If foreign actors exploit that, the solution is transparency, not censorship. X already flags suspicious accounts and shares data with authorities." He paused, his gaze sweeping the bench. "The real question is why the FCC withheld these reports until now. If they're so damning, why hide them unless they're a last-ditch effort? To smear X?" The gallery buzzed, reporters typing frantically. Musk's counter was audacious, flipping the narrative back on the FCC. Justice Sonia Sotomayor, her expression stern, interjected. "Mr. Musk, you dismiss national security concerns, but your platform's scale amplifies risks exponentially. Why should the court trust X to self-regulate when the stakes are so high? Her question cut deep, challenging Musk's core argument. Musk leaned into the podium, his voice rising with conviction. Justice Sotomayor, self-regulation isn't perfect, but it's better than government control. The FCC's solution. Vague, rules enforced by unelected officials. Invites abuse. My platform empowers users to counter disinformation through open debate, not top-down suppression. His words resonated, echoing his public crusade for free speech. Sotomayor's eyes narrowed, but she scribbled a note, a sign she was listening. Hensley, sensing her momentum slipping, pressed forward. Your Honors, Mr. Musk's rhetoric ignores reality. Our evidence shows X's inaction led to measurable voter manipulation. We urge the court to review these reports in camera to protect sensitive intelligence. Her plea was a gamble. Banking on the justice's trust in classified data over Musk's public bravado. Barrett, silent until now, spoke, her voice icy. Ms. Hensley, you ask us to trust sealed evidence, yet Mr. Musk's disclosures suggest the FCC's motives may not be pure. How do we reconcile this? The question was a bombshell, hinting at skepticism toward the FCC's tactics. Hensley faltered, her response vague, while Musk suppressed a faint smile. As the hearing neared its climax, the justices prepared to deliberate, but Musk had one final card to play, a revelation that could tip the scales. What would he unveil, and how would it shape the court's final reckoning? The Supreme Court chamber was a cauldron of tension as the hearing reached its zenith. Elon Musk's relentless defense, exposing FCC memos, wielding Justice Barrett's own precedent, and dismantling claims of national security threats, had turned a routine regulatory dispute into a seismic battle over free speech. Now, with the justices poised to deliberate, Musk signaled he had one final revelation. The gallery held its breath, reporters frozen, their devices primed for history. Justice Amy Coney Barrett, her gaze like steel, nodded curtly. Mr. Musk, you have the floor. What is this new evidence? Her voice carried a challenge, daring him to shift the tide once more. Musk stepped forward, his presence commanding. Your Honors, the FCC claims X endangers democracy, but I have proof they've been working with foreign entities to shape their own narrative. The room gasped, a collective jolt of disbelief. He produced a digital tablet, displaying verified correspondence between FCC officials and a foreign tech firm known for state-sponsored censorship tools. These emails, obtained through whistleblowers, show the FCC sought advice on controlling platforms like X, mirroring tactics used by authoritarian regimes. The accusation was explosive, flipping the FCC's national security argument on its head. The gallery erupted, reporters shouting questions until Chief Justice John Roberts banged his gavel. Order! He demanded, his eyes narrowing at Musk. This is a serious charge, Mr. Musk. You're accusing a federal agency of colluding with foreign powers. Can you authenticate these documents? The question was a litmus test, the court's trust hanging in the balance. Musk nodded, unshaken. The emails are verified by independent forensic experts, and the whistleblowers are prepared to testify. The FCC didn't just target X. They sought to import censorship models that violate everything the First Amendment stands for. His voice rang with conviction, a rallying cry for liberty. Justice Samuel Alito, visibly stirred, scribbled furiously, while Justice Elena Kagan's skeptical frown softened, replaced by intrigue. Margaret Hensley, the FCC's counsel, leapt to her feet, her face ashen. This is outrageous. These claims are fabrications, a desperate ploy to distract from X's recklessness. Her voice cracked, betraying panic. She turned to the bench. Your Honors, we request an immediate recess to investigate these baseless allegations. Her plea was frantic, a last gasp to salvage the government's crumbling case. Barrett's voice cut through the chaos. "Ms. Hensley, you've had ample time to present your case. Mr. Musk's evidence, if credible, raises profound questions about the FCC's integrity." Her words were a death knell, her tone signaling the court's shifting sentiment. Hensley slumped back, defeated, as the justices exchanged glances, the weight of Musk's revelations sinking in. Justice Brett Kavanaugh, his tone measured, addressed Musk. "Assuming your evidence holds, what remedy do you seek? Striking down the FCC's regulations entirely?" The question was pivotal, forcing Musk to define victory. Musk met his gaze. "I seek a ruling that protects platforms from vague, overbroad regulations, ensuring the First Amendment thrives in the digital age." His answer was a beacon, resonating with the court's constitutional duty. The justices retired to deliberate, the chamber buzzing with speculation. Hours later, they returned, Roberts delivering the opinion. The court finds the FCC's regulations unconstitutional, violating the First Amendment's protections against government overreach. Mr. Musk's evidence, coupled with precedent, compels this result. The gallery roared, reporters racing to file stories. Barrett's concurring opinion cited her own Bonta ruling, cementing Musk's legal triumph. Musk stood tall, his stoic facade breaking into a faint smile. The ruling was a landmark, curbing regulatory overreach and affirming digital free speech. Outside, crowds cheered, ex-users hailing Musk as a defender of liberty. The FCC faced investigations, its credibility shattered. Musk's reputation, once polarizing, now gleamed with intellectual prowess, his courtroom victory a testament to his relentless fight for truth. As the sun set over Washington, Musk stepped into the evening air, the weight of history on his shoulders. The battle was won, the First Amendment fortified, and the digital age redefined, not by force, but by the power of ideas.